Hey guys, today I'll be chatting with my friend Beck again, and this time we're chatting about her journey through anxiety and depression. So a little disclaimer, perhaps if you are going to watch this and that's something that's really sensitive to you, just make sure that you're aware before you watch it. But I really hope that this is something that just provides a space for people to talk about how they feel and talk about their emotions. And ways that we can actually help ourselves through the tough seasons. So tune in and have a look. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. This is my beautiful friend Beck.
Hi.
And I wanted to chat with you today about a few different things and a lot about some stuff that I know you're really passionate about speaking about and being open with people about. So thank you for being willing to chat with me today and being open and sharing. You are beautiful, 25 weeks pregnant, little beautiful bub, baby girl on the way.
Yeah, so excited.
Which is very exciting. And so I just thought maybe you could share with me a little bit about your journey this far with sort of getting pregnant and a little bit backstory to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so my husband and I got married in 2013, and because I had some health challenges previously, we thought it might be difficult to conceive. So pretty early in, I think in March after we got married, so March 2014, we stopped using birth control, which is a bit like, whoa, what are you doing? But I was 27 when we got married, and we thought, if it does happen, that would be wonderful. We're totally open to it. So pretty much since the beginning of 2014, it could have been possible. So not that we were actively seeking assistance or help with reproduction, but we weren't preventing it. Yeah. And so during that time, I just had some health stuff going on, some stress at work. And so I thought, well, maybe that's why we weren't falling pregnant, because it was over the years, just nothing really happened. Mm-hmm. But after a few years of that, I started to get nervous and just think, okay, something's probably not right, and we should probably get some help.
Yeah. So you mentioned, and this is something I really want to talk to you about today, that you had some health issues going on, like physical health issues, but also some like mental and emotional health issues. And that's something I really want to like sort of delve deeper into, because I think it's something, and I know you're really passionate about this, something that people don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting better on a whole, like talking about it, but I think it's still something that people don't want to admit, like, oh yeah, I've had like mental health issues, or even, I think even saying like issues sometimes makes it a bigger deal than it is. But I think people shy away from sharing what they've gone through. But what I actually love about people like you and other people I know that are being more outspoken about this is it actually gives permission for people to say, I'm not okay. Yeah. And like she was brave enough to say something, so I can be brave enough to say something. Yeah. So tell me, like, when do you think that sort of all started for you?
Yeah. Well, I will say, I think it's just been an ongoing journey throughout my life. So probably when I went through puberty, I probably started having really bad periods, and then with that, really intense mood swings. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that was all health. We suspect it was probably health related, but so during my teenage years, I did struggle with anxiety and depression, but at that time, I think my mindset towards it was because I was being raised in a church, I just thought it was just my lack of faith, or it was weird. I didn't really have the words how to describe how I was feeling, and I just thought maybe it was.
So do you think
just my own moodiness? And
at the time, would you have said, I have depression or I have anxiety? You just now looking back go, yeah, I definitely had anxiety.
I definitely did. It took me, because it was probably throughout my my high school years that I struggled with just feeling isolated and just feeling disconnected, and probably presented as a really healthy, outgoing person, but then would really struggle with my emotions when I was behind closed doors. Yeah. And it took me, but I just didn't want the stigma because I thought, well, if there's something wrong with me, I don't necessarily want people to find out.
Yeah.
So definitely got good at wearing a mask and just pretending I was okay. And probably when I was younger, that's probably what led me to some self-harm behaviors and some disordered eating, just because we're all seeking control. And so I was trying to control the fact that I didn't feel right, but I'm still supposed to put on this brave face and be this, Christian girl who leads worship and who's fine, but I wasn't fine.
Yeah.
So when I was in my senior year of high school, I finally went to my pediatrician. I took myself. Yeah. And I just started crying in her office, and I just said, I don't feel right. And that's when she first diagnosed me with anxiety and depression. And so my journey throughout my life has been to try to understand why that happens to me and speak more openly about it so other people can find help as well, especially younger people who maybe feel isolated. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's reared its head during different seasons of my life. I've just gotten better at coping, and I've gotten better at learning my triggers and figuring out, why am I feeling this way? What has caused this? Yeah.
Something I love, like you say, you've been figuring out your triggers. Something that I actually love that you do, and I think you do it quite openly, is if there's something that's a trigger, you just are unapologetic about just going, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore. And I actually really love that, and I think we need to be kind to ourselves and give ourselves permission to do that sometimes. So fast forward to, you said 2013. Was it 2013 you got married?
Yes, I got very end of 2013, December.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, crazy.
And so you got married to a lovely guy named Sam. And then and you're based here in Australia, because in case people can't tell you.
Yeah, we're originally from upstate New York.
New York. And so what was that journey like with being married, and then also because again your anxiety and depression sort of reared its head?
It reared its head again. I think we had just been in a season where we moved across the world. We went to Bible college, planned a wedding. I started a job that for me was maybe a little out of my skill set at the time and felt very intense. And so I think I was going for a couple of years, and then once we got married, it's almost like my body crashed a bit. Yeah. So when we got married, I started finding that I was struggling to get out of bed. My hair was thinning. I rapidly put on quite a bit of weight when we first got married, and just kind of out of nowhere. I hadn't really changed my eating too. I mean, you do when you're newly married. You do kind of just eat whatever. Yeah, exactly. You're like, whatever.
I need to get into my wedding dress.
Exactly. He loves me anyway. So there was a little of that. Some of it was just odd, and then it affected my mood. And I found that
I remember you actually saying, "You're like, I'm eating so well."
Yes. But just packing on the weight and just not feeling myself. And then Sam worked on Saturdays at that time, and I remember I would literally not get out of bed till 4 p.m. on Saturdays, and he would come home from work and find me still how he left me, and he just started to get really concerned, like, what's going on? Yeah. You just seem really flat. You're not really being a partner, really, because I wasn't able to help with anything, and he was doing a lot of the meals, which is not how you want your first year of marriage to go, because it's not what you envision. It's not what you envision. No. So that's when I started to think something's wrong. I'm not myself, and I felt this way before, and we need to kind of get on top of it. It took me a while because I didn't want to admit to myself that I wasn't good, but I needed to eventually. And you did, I needed to eventually.
It's interesting because it was like your emotions, right, that were really wreaking havoc, but it was outworking like physically
on my body.
Yeah. And so, so what, like, okay, you said you realized, okay, I need to get help. Yeah. One of the things that you actually you posted about on your social media, and I'll pop her details below if you want to go check her out and just have a read of some of her beautiful posts, and very open and raw and honest posts, which I love. But one of the posts you put was about you took a online quiz on Beyond Blue, which is a website for helping diagnose and deal with depression. It's like full of resources and sort of like what next, right? And I love that you shared that, because I actually at the time was going through something like some anxiety myself. So when you posted that, I thought, wow, I should probably do that and because I don't feel like I'm normal at the moment, and that for me was something where I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah,
I'm not okay.
I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And I need to stop pretending that I am okay.
Yeah.
So for you, you did that, and tell me a little bit. So you did that, and then what?
Yeah, I started just to be my own advocate and start researching what could be wrong, because I was going to the doctor all the time, and I love my doctor, and I do really appreciate and love modern medicine, but I was getting sick a lot, I think that year I was given antibiotics 14 times, and just
more than once a month.
Yeah, more than once a month I was going in, and they were like, oh, you just need to reduce your stress and eat better, and I just felt very helpless and like I wasn't being listened to. So I started reading online what could be causing, what is making me feel this way, what could be causing the sickness in my body, and a lot of it was emotions, and also like what you're eating and what's causing inflammation in your body. So while I was looking out for my physical stuff and trying to remove foods that were causing me inflammation and trying to rest more and just be practical, I also realized I need to look after my emotions as well.
Yeah.
So Australia has this amazing resource, Beyond Blue, and it's really just informing people about mental health and making it very accessible and removing that stigma. So I just went on the Beyond Blue website, and there's a quiz on there, the K10 quiz that I took, which just kind of shows you if you're experiencing symptoms of anxiety or depression. Took the quiz, and my score was incredibly high, and I think at that moment I realized, okay, I need to stop and really look at this and really ask for help, because I can't continue on this way. I'm not going to be the wife or the friend or the employee or just the person in general that I want to be if I continue this way. So
and so did you then like see somebody about like a psychologist or counselor about all of your emotions?
At that time, because I was fairly high risk, I actually went to a psychologist. I went to my GP first, and then they gave me a referral to a psychologist and helped me come up with a mental health care plan. And I started seeing a psychologist, which was really helpful because psychologists are often just super practical in those moments where you can't think clearly. And she just sat with me and was like, okay, what do you need to remove? What could be affecting your depression? Okay, it's stress. How can we look at managing that? And just really walked me through it very, very practically. I've utilized counseling services in the past, and I love counseling because it's very therapeutic and it goes through like all the emotions and processing. But I felt at that time the psych was really helpful because she was just very, okay, here we go. This is what we need to do.
Great. And so when did you start seeing her? Like,
It took me a really long time. I spent most of 2014 and 2015 on the health side of things. Yeah. And it took me until 2016 actually, which is way too long to actually deal with the depression and what we think was really burnout depression caused by anxiety, high levels of anxiety over time that eventually led to my body just going, okay, chill out for a minute. And then that kind of led to me feeling flat in the depression.
Yeah. And so with anxiety, because often like anxiety, depression go a bit hand in hand. With your anxiety, how did that present itself for you? Was it just like you mentioned that you would be in bed on like a Saturday exhausted? Was it like that?
Yeah, it was almost like
fatigue, extreme fatigue, because my brain would be going all week, telling myself stories that maybe weren't even true, or social anxiety. So I'd walk into a room and I would just immediately feel completely overwhelmed. Yeah. I felt like I would see people interacting and I would feel like panicked. Like, I don't know how I'm going to say hi or what we're going to talk about. Then I would leave the social situation and be like, I don't know if they like me. Just all those, your mind starts to go, why did I say that? And you start to think about things way too in detail than I normally do. And Sam started to notice.
Catastrophizing things.
Yeah, like, oh no, maybe she won't want to be friends with me anymore. And Sam he was a good mirror for that, because he would just be like, what do you mean? That didn't happen. And he could just see I was on high alert. And because I was just so anxious all the time, it was affecting other things, because then I would come home and I would just sit on the couch and just not be able to do much. And I think over time, operating on that level kind of led me into my body putting me into a depressive state just to calm me down and put me in survival mode. To help me cope.
Yeah.
So it presented really socially. I didn't always feel comfortable going to church or even at my job. I think I isolated myself a little bit. And
it just wasn't.
I think that happens
helpful.
a lot with anxiety is people isolate themselves for like a number of reasons, but often because we don't want to say like
I felt crazy. Like if I said this, people would think,
but
That's
you
weird.
still really believe it. I know, like for me, that's something I experienced, like going through anxiety. The stuff I was thinking to me was really real. Like I was really concerned about my health, and I would say it to somebody, and or the thought of telling somebody would make me feel, oh, they're just going to think I'm an idiot because they're not in my body and they can't feel what I'm feeling. But like you've got to speak to somebody. Hey, you've got to like be able to get that out, I think, because internalizing it all the time is not good. So I think either a professional or somebody like your husband or a loved one that you feel really safe with and can be really like raw and honest with is super important to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so it puts your body into like a bit of a depressive state.
Yeah. Because you get tired after.
being on that is exhausting. It's you're using up a lot of energy trying to manage that kind of stress and having that level of adrenaline flowing through you all the time. I think your body just gets really tired.
And do you think that something like there's like a trigger point, or there's multiple triggers you sort of mentioned maybe for you?
Yeah.
Like over the years there's been different experiences that have become like a trigger point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And often it's linked back to that.
Absolutely. I think for me, it's whenever I let my life, run away from me and I don't manage what I'm involved with and what I'm doing. I would like to think that I'm Superwoman and that I have this massive capacity. And I think in some ways we all do have a big capacity. It just depends. It looks different for everybody. So I think for me, one thing that my psych and I talked about, my doctor as well, some people are more sensitive than others. So I'm sensitive to emotions and to change. So I think for me, I really pointed it back to change when there's a lot of change. So marriage was a really big change for me. At that time, we were also applying for a pretty significant visa to stay in Australia and be able to work. So there was a lot of paperwork involved with that. At that time as well, there was a lot of change happening at work. And I think it was all just layers at the same time. And like one thing after another, which is often what it is, isn't it? And then I didn't react to that level of stress and say, oh, I need to maybe pull out of this volunteering opportunity or maybe not say yes to all these outings in the evening. I just tried to keep my life as normal.
Like appear normal.
I was like,
not like, I can't handle this. Everybody, I need a bit of a break. No, just like, I'll keep up appearances.
Kept saying
I'm okay. I can handle this.
I can do it. I'll be there. And also I do have that people-pleasing side of me that wants to make sure, and I love people, so I want to make sure everyone else is okay, and I want to help take care of others and keep my commitment. So saying no and canceling or pulling out of something and disappointing people really also caused me anxiety. So I was like, I still need to stay doing all these things, but I know I can't. And so it was a ticking time bomb, as it is for many of us.
Because I think sometimes we're in denial about it ourselves. Like I think for me as well, because I've only really gone through this journey recently, and I would say I'm still probably walking it out myself.
Like the healing process.
Yeah, the healing process, and I would even have moments of anxiety still, I think. But like for me to actually realize that that's what it was I was experiencing, it took like probably a good 6 months before I realized, hang on, I've got anxiety. Before that, I just thought that was just the way that
season was, like it's just a big season, or
like I don't know, like that's just the way it goes.
Like I'm just stressed, and you feel you almost feel like your stomach starts to flip or drop, and you have these moments of panic, and you just think, oh well, it's just because I'm busy or there's a lot going on health wise, and you kind of accept it until you realize, oh wait, this is not normal. No, this isn't normal.
And I think it reaches a point of, and for me, one of the things that stood out where I thought this is, and one of my friends actually pointed out to me, was I just couldn't eat my food. So I'd be hungry and I'd we'd have like get dinner ready, or I'd prepare dinner for everybody. I'd sit down to eat. I'd have one bite, and I just couldn't stomach it anymore. And I like food.
Yeah, hello.
So
that's a big sign.
And I actually went out for dinner with a friend, and we always get dessert. Me and this friend, we eat our food.
Yeah.
And I basically didn't sit through, like, I didn't eat much of my dinner. And I ordered dessert, and I had one bite, which is just unlike me.
Yeah.
Bit of a sweet tooth. And she's like, so are you going to tell me why you haven't touched your food or not? And I was like, oh, I'm just not. And she's like, no.
No. That's the thing with good friends, is they can see through that. They know who you are.
Yeah. And I know for me as well, my husband has been and was like, so helpful and patient with me at the time in just letting me feel all the feels.
Yes, you need to feel and acknowledge those feelings.
Yeah, and just talk me around from some of the moments of anxiety that I was having or whatever. And so, so fast forward, and we'll talk about this more in, you have to watch it in the second part of this, but you're pregnant now, 25 weeks, like we said.
So excited.
But that in itself has been quite a journey, so your body goes into a depressive state, you're trying to fall pregnant, and like you said, you're going along, but it's just not happening.
No.
So at what point did you think, or was it just linked?
It was just all very linked, because for a while I was just getting, I could have, my eczema would flare up, I'd have random rashes, reactions to things. I never felt good after I ate. So, and I was very stressed. So and I wasn't falling pregnant. So every month, you get your period. And I was like, Sam, something's wrong with me. Like, I am not functioning in a healthy way. And so I just knew that I needed to I just kind of knew it was all linked. So I tried for a long time just to manage it myself and read online and figure out what was going on. But eventually I did seek the help of professionals, because, once I started getting the mental health and the health stuff sorted, still was struggling and to fall pregnant. And so that's when I thought, okay, I need to get some professional help or advice, because this isn't happening. And I know it's probably a product of what's happened the last kind of 4 years, and my body's reeling from that.
Do you think as well sometimes, like, you have to trust your gut, like that when you're like, something's not right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It took me a while to trust, because he's like, it's just maybe not the right timing, or, we have a lot going on. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know. Just you just know if something in your body's not.
Yeah, I always say that. And I was chatting with Lisa about this in another episode. I was saying, like, as a mum, even just to trust your gut when something's not right with your kids. And I was saying how on Pinterest, a lot of the stuff I resonate with is all like, trust your gut, and sometimes we get it wrong, but I reckon physically, when it comes to like our bodies, like we really have to trust our gut.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that in a minute, but I just want to ask you one more question before we wrap this up. Is so why are you so passionate about being open about talking about mental health?
I think for me, that throughout my life, the cognitive dissonance, or just the disconnect that came from not being honest, caused so much harm. Trying to be two people at once, the sad girl who's crying herself to sleep and not being kind to herself, and then trying to be the happy, pleasant Christian woman at the same time, like, who's singing on stage at a church. So I think because I had to unite those two people and figure out how to be authentic.
Yeah.
I'm just really passionate about being honest. And I sometimes find in times of stress or times of, health issues, that I start to regress and not totally be transparent. And so it's more for me, it's more my battle, where I'm just like, no, you're not going to be silent. You're not going to be silenced on this. You're going to actually, even if it's a little bit embarrassing, but because the shame comes when you're silent. Yeah. And so I think for me, it's breaking through that and saying, this is okay, that I'm not okay, and that's okay. Yeah. And I'm going to walk it out.
That is okay too.
Yeah.
And I think, if you do check out her social media, you'll see that there's such a big response to those posts that you do that are really open and honest and raw. So thank you for being like that. And stay tuned. We're going to check out or hear a little bit more about your pregnancy journey, which is an exciting one. Stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope that was helpful to you. And today we chatted about a few things that are actually quite a sensitive topic. And so if any of that has really hit home for you, or you feel like you need to speak with somebody else, please contact Beyond Blue. I'll pop their details below. There is always somebody that you can speak to. And of course you can reach out to Beck or myself. We would love to hear from you if that's something that you feel would be appropriate. But please know you're not alone, and you don't have to do this journey alone. Make sure that you like and subscribe and follow along the journey on all of my channels or my social media. Hope to see you soon.